A never-before-heard interview with Chester Bennington has just resurfaced. Buried for years, hidden out of fear. And what's on the tape changes everything.
The biggest media leak in U.S. history was exposed on The Alex Jones Show September 8, 2025, when Department of Justice Glenn Prager, the lead investigator in the Jeffrey Epstein case, was caught spilling the truth in a dark and twisted secret recording possibly recorded around the time Chester's interview resurfaced that could potentially seal the Clintons' fate. Or would it?
It's not talked about yet, but it'll soon come out that he was a CIA informant.
He was a CIA informant.
Or he wasn't a CIA. I think he's protecting a lot of other people. He's not protecting himself because there's nothing there, but he's protecting a lot of people.
Because Trump's now saying it's a hoax, the case is like a hoax or something. I'm like, come on, you know it's not a hoax. He's been on the plane, many times. It's just he was never on the plane with the kids.
I've seen the itineraries and I've interviewed all the victims. There's never been an instance where Trump was on a plane with these kids and a rape occurred. But that can't be said for Clinton, and it can't be said for others. While the Clintons were on the plane, while Bill Clinton was on the plane, there were rapes that occurred.
Mr. President,
and by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
It's been rumored for many years that Chris and Chester were part of a task force investigating them.
Aware that slavery, the way we think of it classically, doesn't exist. It does exist. That human trafficking still exists and happens all over the world. And it happens in front of your eyes. So be aware. If you see anything like it, do the right thing.
You know, I get a lot of mail from some kids, and sometimes I get to read them. I'll meet a kid and I'll know that they're coming back to a show. They'll say, "Hey, I'll see you on Friday," and it's Wednesday or something, and I'll read a letter that they write me. And if it's something like that, you know what I mean, I'll go talk to them and tell them everything's all right. Sometimes, in a lot of cases, our kids write us and they really open up to us and tell us a lot of things that they won't even talk about to the closest friends of the family. And I think they do that because they probably think that we might not read it, or if we do, they probably won't see us again or something, and they won't have the time to, who knows what the process is behind it. But a lot of cases, these kids really open up to us, and that's special. That's something special, that they feel like our music helps them through that, and that, or like knowing that that's happened to me, and seeing that I can still be a happy guy with the family, and hang around with my friends and do something productive, like make music to be an outlet, and not destroy myself in the process, is something that I think that they can look up to, So I think that that's something that also kind of. Because we have this really great open kind of idea behind our lyrics, people can take those things and really attach them to any part of their life.
I'm now involved in a campaign, Traffic June. They're seeking to unite musicians and their fans to jam up child trafficking around the world, while also jamming to make a difference. We've got a lot of artists that have given us signed instruments as part of this Instruments of Change program.
We're currently in one of the many floating villages here in Cambodia, primarily Vietnamese population that lives on the waterways and fishes what's becoming a quickly depleted fishing source from the Tonle Sap down through the rivers. Impoverished communities here. Very respectable organizations banded together and did some research a few years ago and concluded that 30% of families living in communities like this end up selling a child into the sex trade, and another 30% have seriously considered it. So 2/3 of the population have either sold or seriously considered selling a child into the Cambodian sex trade. Our partners here say that that's a conservative statistic, and reckon that 60% or so of these families have sold a child. The sense here is that that's normal.
worked security at a private estate in Malibu, summer of 2016. Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell were there, but they weren't partying. They were observing, asking questions. I overheard Chester talking to someone about Madeleine McCann and DC connections. I heard John Podesta's name mentioned, Tony Podesta, and Ghislaine Maxwell. Chester lost control and began screaming about how everyone had blood on their hands. There was a confrontation between Chris and a Hollywood exec, one of the real big shots, near the front door. I had to intervene to protect the exec, but looking back, I wish I hadn't. A week later, I was fired. No explanation, but I know what I saw and heard.
When Chester died, he had told me that he had been around the Clintons so much that he was physically disgusted, that the guys in the band loved the Clintons, but he hated them. In fact, he said to her, "You'll be proud of me when I finish what it is that I've started. I'm undercover with my buddy Chris, and even though I can't tell you what I'm doing because you may lose your life, you'll be so proud of me."
And a leaked audio recording of Chester Bennington magically reappears right around the same time the Glenn Prager interview was leaked. A coincidence? We don't think so.
One More Light is unlike anything we've heard from you. There's less screaming on it, and Stormzy's verse on Good Goodbye just cuts right through. What made you want to go in this direction?
Well, I guess I've screamed enough. There's a time when yelling feels like the only way to be heard, and then there's a time when the silence says more. This record is me walking through that silence, feeling things I'd buried. Stormzy got that. We didn't talk about it much. He just showed up and felt it. It was beautiful.
There's a lyric you sing in Good Goodbye. So say goodbye and hit the road, pack it up and disappear. You better have some place to go, cause you can't come back around here. What were you getting at there?
We're all being sold something, man. Our pain, our joy, our image. It's all product now. And if you're not careful, they'll convince you that you are the product. But truth? Man, truth is different. It lives in the quiet stuff, in what you don't say in a boardroom, in what keeps you up at night.
Are you alright, mate? You seem a million miles away.
Yeah, sorry. It's just, I've been seeing things differently lately. Not crazy different, just clearer. When you finally clean your windshield after driving in the rain for too long, and suddenly you realize, oh, that thing coming at me, that's a fucking semi-truck. There are people in this business, really powerful people, who are not who they say they are. And it's not just about contracts or image control. It goes way deeper. Spiritually toxic stuff. You hear whispers. You meet someone at a charity gala and they've got this perfect smile, but something in your body just recoils. And you don't know why, but you do.
Oh yeah? Who though?
You ever look at someone like Hillary Clinton? Ever wonder why her name shows up in news reports about child trafficking and pedophile rings in DC, but it never makes headlines? Ever wonder why certain artists go dark after speaking out, or why some don't come back at all?
Okay, that's probably gonna be edited out.
Ugh, yeah, that's the point, isn't it? That's the whole problem. There are people in this industry and in politics doing things that would destroy your soul if you really knew.
Okay, so what do you hope people take away from One More Light?
That it's okay to look at the dark. You don't have to live there, but you have to look. You have to acknowledge it, especially when innocent young souls are depending on you stepping the fuck up. Because the more we ignore it, the more it feeds. And if my voice still reaches someone, anyone, then I want them to know you're not crazy. You're just awake, man.
Chester and his voice was notably one of the biggest and most damaging blows to them. This interview was buried until now and has quickly been labeled as a "Is this just another coincidence?" No, in fact, it was released to discredit any and all whistleblowers. In this video, we are going to prove the interview happened even if this version was a deepfake. By proving law enforcement uses AI in crime scene photos all the time and use it to conceal very important details. And by doing so, we are also going to attempt to prove Chris Cornell was murdered beyond a shadow of a doubt with the forensic crime scene recreation. Our first piece of evidence stems from the assassination of Charlie Kirk, where law enforcement was caught red-handed distributing AI-edited photos of the suspect at the crime scene that look similar to Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Michael Cera, Chester Bennington, and Jonah Hill.
At the very least, we do know these are real photos taken from a surveillance camera at Utah Valley University in Orem. But later in the day, the Washington County Sheriff's Office, all the way down in Hurricane, made this post, quote, "Much clearer image of the suspect compared to others we have seen in the media." Well, the reason it's so much clearer is because it's fake. And you could tell it's fake if you look closely first at the shirt. It used to be some sort of logo showing an American flag. Now it's distorted. And if you move to the left hand, for some reason the AI decided to generate a watch. But more importantly, if you look at the face on all four images, these are four completely different people. Some of them are young, some of them are older. We have no way of knowing if any of them are accurate.
Now that you understand what's happening, we can start dissecting the Chris Cornell crime scene piece by piece. The first inconsistency is with his bodyguard Kirsten Martin. He claims he had a key to open the door, but the latch was locked from the inside. He went to the desk and they said, "No, we can't open the door." So he said his wife told him to kick in the door. He does so and is greeted with the bedroom door locked as well. Then for some reason he called the front desk and said, "Send police, EMS, and get help," before saying that Chris was actually in distress. How would he know to send EMS? Chris could have just been in the bathroom, and after this, according to his own report, he claims he kicked the door 7 or so times before it popped open, yet there is no visible damage to the bedroom door to support this claim either. Then he says he saw Chris Cornell's feet, which is impossible due to the blood evidence at the scene and the photos released by TMZ. The police department edited or photoshopped images hiding crucial evidence. Our crime scene recreation suggests Chris may have been ready for a fight because you can clearly see when closely examining all the photos. When standing in the foyer area looking at the bar, you can see what looks like a cattle taser hidden at the end of the counter by the wall, possibly photoshopped or AI as well. It also looks like more than one person raided the hotel mini bar. The door is left cracked open with multiple bottles all around the scene. Moving into the bedroom, on the left bedside table, a gun and bullets, also what looks like brass knuckles that get flipped the opposite way in one photo. This is the only image they didn't fully blur, and it's damning as you can clearly see the bullets and 3 very distinct grooves in the gun. And for more evidence, this photo is AI edited. We started by adding a simple edge detect to determine the edges of the gun, but a huge surprise unraveled. A bizarre and eerie subliminal message was left when you try to edge detect this image of a rat and more. Also look at the bottle. At one point it looks like a cherry, others it looks like a flower as well. They also took his sleeping mask out and laid it on the opposite bedside table, disturbing the actual scene because the sleeping mask is not in other photos. By presenting false evidence, they did the same thing with the band that was around his neck, moving it and posing it in the door at an angle they know it didn't happen from. Also in the bathroom you can see what looks to be the outline of a knife on the counter that looks edited. Now to the bodyguard's statement he saw his feet. This quickly gets debunked as the blood shows Chris Cornell's head was leaning on the floor at the baseboard inside the bathroom with blood reaching the ceiling, meaning he couldn't have saw his feet unless somebody else was in the room before him, and Chris could not have let himself down in a controlled manner like the blood suggests. And the door, somebody would have had to have been pulling the cable from inside the bathroom because the door was never shut, and the only blood on the door itself was on the outside of the door leading into the bedroom. And based on our crime scene recreation, it looks like Chris Cornell was forced into the tub, shot in the back of the head with a low caliber weapon that would not fully pierce the skull through and through. This was most likely a professional hit that went amateur really quick because Chris was not dead and crawled out leaning over the side, dripping blood as found in the drip pattern on the side of the tub. He fell out and scribbled a handprint with the initials of his killer on the palm in the shape of a gun in the blood and crawled away, effectively hiding it in the scene. The killer must have came back in the bathroom and dragged Chris to the door where you can see the blood here. He hung him like this between the crack in the door, as you can see chips in the paint where his foot was pushing the door, then let his body down in controlled increments. We don't think the gun was ever meant to be left at the scene. It's only because Chris Cornell fought back and caused the killer to panic it was left. We theorize it was supposed to look like a slip and fall in the tub after taking too many pills. TMZ said they moved the body, but it wasn't where the bodyguard said it was, and you can actually see part of Chris's body in the TMZ photos itself. It's obvious that responding EMS cared more about preserving the carpet than his life, as you can see here in this photo. They hid the cardboard on the bed that was not in any other photos. We assume they put it underneath his head when they moved his body. This is the photo Cornell can partially be seen in that his family actually sued over TMZ releasing
with Chris's
So
security.
they had moved
and
the body around.
paramedics.
They had moved the
Correct.
body around to try to revive him.
Correct. So
And
that's why the smearing happened.
And one more damning question: why is a piece of the responding police officer's glove in the blood at the scene? Finally, in the bodyguard's statement, he said, "A woman I thought was a doctor called the time of death." That is proven to not be true. In the EMS recording, it was a male EMS responder that was asking them to pronounce him dead over the radio right after he said he had a pulse of 17/39. Now, why on earth, if they managed to get even the most faint of a pulse after fracturing 9 ribs, they did not rush Cornell to a hospital? We don't know.
84 Alpha 142 receiving.
Loud and clear, go ahead.
I'm on scene with a 53-year-old male, pulseless and happy, on arrival of crew. Unknown downtime, found by rotated in a hotel at MGM. The patient did have a exercise rubber band around his neck. Suggestions of possible strangulation, trauma to the back of the head, history of depression. Patient is cooled with a touch in all areas at this time. Pulse has been on scene over 30 minutes time. But yeah, by car. Pupils are fixed and dilated. IO in the right knee, ligature marks on his neck. We have established a patent airway, ET2. I'm sorry, that was a dual lumen combi 2. We're not able to resuscitate him at this time, so we're asking for pronouncement.
That's going to be 0133, Dr. Swain.
81 Alpha 142, copy 0130, Dr. Sweeney.
Make sure to check out the VR walkthrough of this crime scene on my page and support by donating or subscribing to the channel. Our next recreation is the Chester Bennington house. If we gain enough support,